But original manhood, yes, is in flow with nature and the earth. And original manhood is a steward, right? Not just a leader, because you already inherit great power. You inherit a civilization. And so now it's time to know how to take care of things and to manage things. And one of those things is your mind and your health, right? So that's what we focusing on. Anyway, y'all know I get deep on the things that I like to do, man. The journey has been fun, but it's been, tasking. So I designed all the products myself. We want this brand to be a brand that connects to ancestral memory, but also prepares you for the future. You feel me? So we're going to be giving you a lot of education as we're going along. But what we was realizing yesterday, I was having a long call with my CTO, and we was just talking about how the technology side is going to be important, that can help automate connection. And so there's a lot of learning I got to do on this process. We want to beat out a lot of brands. My dream is to really beat out these brands that if you using mushroom coffee, press 1 if you ever tried mushroom coffee, right? Ours is the best on the market, right? We started off as the underdogs, but we're going to end up building a high-level luxury community, right, and company, because I think at the root of our problems, right, is our consciousness. And if we can stimulate a healthy consciousness, then we can stimulate, right, a healthy culture. You know what I'm talking about? So y'all probably use Rise or Four Sigmatic or Mud Water, right? First of all, ours are all sustainably sourced, right? Organic, pesticide-free, etc. But no matter what you've used, this is the best tasting mushroom coffee on the market. Even if you tell me, say, Keys, I'm not a coffee person, you're the exact customer. Everybody who's told me that, and I got plenty of videos I'm going to be sharing, because we do a coffee ritual as I have in many different meetings with different people of all walks of life, and they try it, and they like, damn, I ain't even gonna lie, I ain't a coffee person, I'm a tea person. But as soon as they try it, it's so smooth. To be honest, they can't tell the difference. Like, they can tell there's pallets of, right, when we call it a coffee, but it's so smooth and it's so chill. They don't give you the fritters, you understand me, the jitters or nothing like that. Like, no, it's just a smooth. And when you learn about coffee, you learn like coffee has a half-life, meaning that coffee's half-life, if you take 100 milliliters of caffeine in the morning before 12 o'clock, because you really don't want to be drinking caffeine after 12 o'clock. So you want to get your first cup or 2 cups in, whatever you're going to do before 12 o'clock. That's our recommendation, right? And so coffee's half-life means by, let's say if you do it by 12, let's say by 5 o'clock, you're going to have 50 milliliters in your system. And by 10 o'clock, right, you should have 0. Meaning that it doesn't disrupt your sleep, right? So the earlier you're drinking the coffee is the better, right? Especially when we talking about mushroom coffee, of course, not only has that, but it has stimulants within it, and the nootropics is actually helping your brain and your gut. So it's basically prebiotic coffee at the same time. So it's good for your gut brain and it's good for your actual brain. So you want to make sure you're getting it in before 12, and then eventually we're going to have an after 12 pack that we create. So mushroom coffee does not have crash at all. It does not have crash, right? It doesn't do the same spiking as regular coffee with jitters and things of that nature. And that's because we offset it with your cordyceps and the lion's mane, which is actually good for your brain, right? So yes, in the future, we plan on having our teas, our matchas, right? We also do have a chocolate, which is a cacao. Cacao is a natural heart opener, so it's really good for your heart. Right, you want to have you some cacao daily. It's really good, and the cacao has lion's mane. And what we're going to do is we're going to do something fun with it, where we're going to have a golden ticket inside one of the chocolate bars. Yes, Willy Wonka, I grew up watching that. You feel me? But we're going to have one of the golden ticket in the chocolate bar, and the winner will have coffee with me. If we got to fly you out, you understand me? We will fly you out. We're going to record it all. Right, and you'll be able to sit down and you're going to have coffee with me. So make sure y'all tap in. Mushrooms, not like psychedelic mushrooms. So do your homework. Shout out to J Man in Chicago. Do your homework on the mushroom coffees. The mushroom is adaptogenic. right? And it's a nootropic, so it's a stimulant of the brain. So essentially it helps with like mood, memory, learning, focus. It's not going to get you high. It's going to get you high level. You know what I mean? So it's different. So yeah, our dream is to build a wellness center. We already have, one of our business partners has a wellness center. She started it because, you know, her mom was suffering and she wanted a space to be able to take her, right? So it's good to be able to work with some female founders in this as well. We're working on building out the Supermind Wellness facility so that you all will be able to come over there and do some of the cognitive rituals and training and doing some retreats. And then, right, our goal is to have some pop-up coffee shops in the future, right? We're looking at some like state-of-the-art ideas when it comes to coffee shop, when we're able to like afford to like build that out. So, you know, again, we want to build out the future of this. So it's like technology, it's the wellness center, it's the coffee pop-ups that we're going to be doing, right? That's going to be sort of the future of it. And I'll be sharing more as the journey goes along. I remember we had some issues with getting packages when they was having that tariff thing, because we had ordered 5,000 packages, right? I think altogether we got like 10,000 ordered. And they tried to increase the price, of course, like by 125%. So we had to wait that one out. And that's when we had like a little stall. And it's interesting going through business, because as you're doing different businesses, you end up having so many different issues when it comes to business. And you just got to solve them and keep going. And what we're focusing on right now, especially as a lean startup, is that we're focusing on making it a great company before it becomes a big company, right? So if we can get all our processes, our systems together now, then by the time we scale, right, it can be a great company. And we're going to be doing product drops. And I just ask that you all are patient with us as we are executing, because we're learning as we're going. We're making sure that we're getting better and better at the supply chain and systems that we have set up. So I had a conversation with Rwanda, not Rwanda, the whole country, but some of the suppliers in Rwanda to talk about some people out in Africa with some connections. We work with some people out in India. All of our mushrooms or our coffee is sourced locally for now, but we're working with suppliers from Colombia to Kenya, because we do instant coffee, which means that, and this was interesting, I went to the factory and it's a dope process when you get into the mushroom coffee. When you get into the coffee part of it, right? Because some of it won't have caffeine in it at all. But for people who want that caffeine spike in their day, we do have that option. So with the instant coffee, it actually takes a lot more coffee, right? Because the way you have to do it is you have to brew the beans, right? So some of them start as like green looking and then they turn brown. And I'll share some videos with you all on my stories. And then after you do that, or you have to roast them, right? So, which is like this process of heating them up and essentially like cooking them and roasting them and getting some of that flavor out of them. And then you brew them. So now pull up to the side, make a right. And then you brew them. And then after you brew them, right, you have to freeze dry it. So we wanted to get somebody else to do our freeze drying process, but we're going to end up having to buy a whole freeze drying machine. You're going to turn it here. So we're gonna end up buying you're gonna end up buying a freeze drying machine, and that's gonna cost us like over 10K, or like 7 to 10K. But we gotta do it ourselves. And this is what it requires when you execute and doing your own thing. And so once we have our freeze dryer, we have to take the coffee, freeze dry it, and when you are essentially making your coffee, what you're doing is you're rehydrating, right, the coffee that's inside it. And I didn't understand this process at first, but it's really dope because they have these people called Q graders, and Q graders are essentially experts at coffee. So it's only like a couple of hundred of them in the country. It's like getting a master's in coffee. You got to go through a rigorous test. No, it's not a lot of caffeine. So we had one of them try, and they said it tastes like it's unlike any other thing that they've tried. They absolutely loved it. So we're going through all of like the process of really doing this journey. It's not no white label. It's not no start a brand. Because I ain't gonna lie, I had some people in the mushroom industry contact me and they wanted me to just white label some stuff. And I'm not doing that, right? Everything I had to be hands-on. You know what I mean? I got to be in control of the brand. I got to make sure it really fits, right, the vision. It's a lot more work, but it's a lot more rewarding, right, when you can really touch the process. So I appreciate y'all that's tapping in. Check out the brand. We just hired a social media manager, so we're going to be telling the story more on our social media at Supermind Labs. We're going to be breaking down the philosophy, the journey, the history behind it. You feel me? So I look forward to having a cup of Supermind with you as well. It's a nice consciousness in a cup, man. Y'all be blessed.